Got big dreams, I'ma do big things. Yeah, you see me on the big screen looking so clean. I don't move slow, I move fast right past.
Yo, what's going on guys? Samix Plays here, and we are back with another TFD video. I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of feeling myself with these new intros. I have a lot of fun with it, so I hope they're not too cringe. I hope you guys at least enjoy them a little bit. But I went ahead and did a community poll, and it seems like a lot of you guys want to hear my thoughts on Season 1 as well as the Hailey grind. So I'm gonna kind of give my impressions and just like my honest opinion. Now I know not everybody is going to agree with what I have to say, and that's totally fine. I mean, I'm not trying to cater to 100% of the internet. I know some people like these new mechanics and they like doing them and all that good stuff, and if you do, that's fine, that's totally cool. But I do want to at least break it down. So I wanted to start off with invasion dungeons. They are going to be basically the new mechanic of the Season 1 drop, and you know, you're just going to go in and do some puzzle stuff, and then you shoot the pillars as well as collect the brains and all that good stuff, and then you fight the boss at the end of the dungeon. So for me personally, and I've said this in previous videos, I do not like the invasion dungeons really at all. If it did not have the Hailey shards and the gold in them, I would not be doing them. The reason for that is just personal preference. When I am playing a looter shooter, I just want to go run around and shoot stuff. If you do have puzzle mechanics in the game, I think it's totally okay as long as they are done in a way that is fun. And with the new mechanics, just personal preference, I just do not like them. I am very hard to sell the idea on puzzles. There are some games where I think it's appropriate, such as like, you know, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, stuff like that. Like, you know, I like them. You know, it has to be like a very niche sort of circumstances for me to be like, oh, this is really fun. However, I just find it kind of weird that they took out all of the hold standstill points in the game and then they added the Season 1 content. So it's like they're kind of going 2 steps forward and then 2 steps back, right? It's like you took out everything that was slowing down the game, but then you added some mechanics that slow down the game, and or it seems like to try and like gate you, such as like the Simon Says game, which honestly I find the least annoying out of all the other ones, but I know that's not going to be the case for everybody. But overall, the invasion dungeons for me just didn't hit the mark. I was really looking forward to Season 1, and you know, not all of the patch was bad. They added so many good things with this patch, but as far as specifically I'm talking about the mechanics, I'm not talking about the quality of life stuff, because the quality of life stuff was amazing. It's the best job they've ever done. It was 10 out of 10. But unfortunately, the actual season mechanics were just not that interesting, and they were more tedious than they were fun, at least in my opinion. So that's how I feel about the invasion dungeons. I just, it's not for me, and that's fine, but I just personally don't like them. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the Hailey grind. I'll go ahead and move my camera so you guys can see how close I am. So I've been grinding it since Season 1 launch. Granted, I haven't been like hard grinding 12 hours a day because it kind of kills the incentive when it's just kind of like a gacha themed kind of mechanic. I played a lot of gacha games before this, so like I played Honkai Star Rail and stuff like that. If you haven't played games like that, basically the premise is you log in for 10 minutes, do your dailies, get your gems, and then you log out. That's essentially what this is. So that's kind of like the mechanic. It's time gating. You have to like basically go in. It's to get you to log in each day so you can pull for the future characters or whatever. So it's kind of similar to the new system we have here, right? They want you to log in, do a couple of invasion dungeons. They'll give you some shards. It's RNG of which shards you get. And then you basically, after that, you can kind of do whatever you want and or log out if specifically you're just trying to go for Hailey. I quit gacha games because I got tired of that mechanic. The reason why I joined the looter shooter genre after like so many years is because I just feel like there's so much content in looter shooters and I can just like mindlessly run around and gun stuff down. It feels good, it feels interactive. Now I know that as somebody who only buys battle passes and cosmetics, I have never bought any of the Descendants. I grinded all of my ultimates, and I know this puts me at a disadvantage as a content creator because comparatively, if I would have just dropped the $20, I could have just built her up extremely quickly and then made a video and it probably would have done really well, right? Because not a lot of people are gonna have her on day one. But I just don't like doing that because I feel like it takes out a lot of the content in the game. So me personally, I just don't like buying characters. I'll well out on the skins, I'll buy the battle passes, but when it comes to the characters, I just want to be able to grind them. And I don't have to have it day one. That's totally fine. If you give the people that buy it, let them have it day one. That's totally cool. But you got to make the farm somewhat reasonable for people that either don't like buying Descendants or can't afford to buy them. They have an option that they can spend their time over their money. And I think that's important to keep in games like this because everybody's situation is going to be different. $20 to you might be a lot of money to somebody else, so they might not be able to afford it. I think if you grind for a few days, you should be able to unlock a character, especially if it's a base Descendant. Because with this system, now I'm wondering, well, how is Ultimate Hailey gonna look? How is Ultimate Freyna gonna look? Is it gonna be locked behind 1,000, 2,000 shards? You know what I'm saying? It's just the system, I just feel like isn't great. And the reason they did this, I don't think they did it to be malicious and to try and, you know, get one over on the community. I think genuinely they just said like, guys, we don't have any content to keep the players in the game. What are we going to do about it? And they said, well, I guess we could time gate Hailey. That's kind of like basically, I'm assuming, I don't know that for sure, but I'm assuming that's what happened. And they said, okay, well, we can at least get people to log in each day, go do the invasion dungeons, and then get her shards, right? Now, keep in mind, they did buff this. So on original release, it was originally planned that you would have to do 12 days of invasion dungeons if you got perfect RNG to unlock Hailey, which to me is insane. I think that is like way worse than the previous system we had, but that is the system that they went with. And basically what that would look like is you do the invasion dungeons, you would get a chance at the shards you're going for. That's important because 12 days is like absolutely, you'd have to be extreme. Like, it's not gonna happen. Most people, it's probably gonna be 3-4 weeks because it would have been an RNG chance on your shards, or it is. But then they added the option of, well, you can go also, if you don't want to wait for the time gating, we will let you go do hard dungeons. I was totally fine with that. When I saw that we had a hard dungeon option, I was like, hell yeah, man, I can just run through the dungeons, I get a couple shards per run, everything is good. Like, that's way more interactive than Outpost. I was like, cool, all right, that's a good idea. Until I logged in on the patch release day, I went and did like 20 to 30 dungeons, and I ended up getting like 2 shards or something. Like, it was something ridiculous like that. It was like 2 shards. And I was like, bro, what is, like, because in my mind, I was like, oh, it's just going to be guaranteed 1 shard per run. I have to do 144 hard dungeons. If I don't want to do the invasion dungeons, I can do that. You know, it'll probably take me a few days to grind it or whatever. Like, that's totally fine. No, that was not the case. It was a percent drop. So that theoretically, that means that I could run 100 hard dungeons and only get like 10 shards or something, because the drop rate was like 15 to 20% chance, somewhere in there. Somebody did the stats on it already, but I believe it was like 20%. And then now they've buffed it to 40%, which is better, but it's still, I don't think it needs to be a percent drop. I think putting it at a guaranteed drop, 1 shard per run, I feel like is a grind enough in itself. That way the people that swipe to get her, they can get her quicker. And then the people that want to grind for her, I mean, that's still quite a grind, right? Like 144 hard dungeons. I mean, it's still going to take you some time, especially comparatively to what we're used to with the normal Descendants having really high rates in those amorph patterns. And then after you do grind it, you also have to craft her. So I just feel like overall the new system, I'm really hoping they don't make it this way for Ultimate Freyna and eventually like Ultimate Hailey. I'm hoping this is just like a season thing where they're kind of like testing it out, because I do like that they're testing out new stuff, but for me this kind of killed the incentive for me to like hard grind for her. As you can see here, I still did, like I still want to grind her and unlock her. I'm pretty close, but yeah, when it's a percent drop and you go like 5, 6, 7 dungeons without getting a shard, it feels really bad. Whereas comparatively to amorph patterns, I can just constantly do it. I know I'll get it eventually, as far as if it's like a 32% drop or a 20% drop, right? If I get like 10 patterns or something, I'm most likely gonna get it. Whereas the hard dungeons, it's like, depending on what dungeons, because some of them can be longer dungeons. Of course, if it's like Magister Labs or something, you can get our shards done pretty quick, because if you have a built up character, you can do that in a few minutes. But other dungeons for her pieces take some time, you know? So if you're doing like 6-7 minute dungeons and you run that 5, 6, 7 times and you don't get a shard to drop, it just feels terrible. You're just like, I feel like you don't want to do it, right? You're just like, wow, I need like so many of these shards. I just played the game for like an hour and I didn't even get one shard. It just doesn't feel good. It does feel better now that they buffed it, but in my opinion, I think it should be one hard dungeon, one shard. Like, just keep it simple, you know? The players that are going to be staying in your game are going to just stay there anyway, but you're going to run off the people who just wanted to check it out and see how much like investment they would need to do it. And most people don't like that system where you just log in each day, play for 10 minutes and log out to try and unlock a character, in my opinion. Maybe there are a lot of people that like that system, I don't know, but I think there needs to be different options for different players. So you cater to the casual players who, you know, they work 40-50 hours a week, they're not able to play, you know, that much, but you also cater to the hardcore players that are like, hell yeah, I'll grind this in 2 days, you know what I mean? Because if they're grinding that hard, they deserve to unlock it. I mean, if you're spending 20-30 hours in the game, you should be rewarded with being able to get what you wanted to get because you spent so much time in the game to get it. And that's just not the case right now. It seems very difficult, and a lot of players took that as, oh well, Nexon just wants to point us to the cash shop, they made it hard on purpose. I don't think that was the case. I mean, I don't know for sure. As I said, I'm not in their meeting room like talking with them, but I think this was just kind of their solution to not having too much content in season 1, so they thought that this was the best way to handle that. But that is a whole nother conversation. I feel like when you have a season 1 drop, it needs to be front loaded with content because that is when you are going to have the most players looking at your game. Now I understand if it's not ready, it's not ready. I know they said that they wanted people to work during the holidays, which I don't agree with that. I don't think it's that serious. At the end of the day, it's a game. I don't think you should be telling people to work during the holidays and they can't be with their family because people don't like something in the game, right? Like, I don't think anybody was asking for that, but I do think that they should have had a little bit more in place for the season 1 launch, because I definitely think it missed the mark for a lot of people, and maybe people who just wanted to come back to check out the season 1 stuff are now like, okay, well, I'm just gonna wait till October 10th. Overall, I still play the game every day. I'm still having fun with the game because I have other stuff to do, right? I'm grinding to unlock Hailey, I'm upgrading my weapons, I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. I still have some Descendants I need to unlock, stuff like that. I'm testing builds. So for me, it's not like that big of a deal, but I did want to at least like give my honest impressions of what I thought about the game and the season 1 drop. And that way, I just don't like when people, like, if I ever don't speak on something, it's just because I'm trying not to be too negative about the situation. I don't want to be like too toxic about it. If I don't like something, like, I'll let you guys know in the video, like, oh man, I really wish this was different, or I really wish this wasn't as tedious as it was, or something like that. But generally, I won't make like a half-hour long video just ranting about it. But it seems a lot of people wanted me to make those kinds of videos and just share my thoughts on it, so I figured I might as well. But yeah, overall, season 1 for me so far, it's been okay. I wouldn't say it's good. It leans more towards bad for sure as far as like the mechanics, but I did enjoy the quality of life stuff. So hopefully they just keep improving on these systems. I think we got a really good dev team working on the game. They just kind of got to like figure it out, right? They're kind of figuring out what the player base wants, and they're extremely quick on fixing stuff, and it does seem like they're passionate about the game with all the quality of life stuff that they've been putting out. So I do think they deserve a chance. And yes, while season 1 was a miss for a lot of people, I do think it'll get better in the future as we continue to grow and continue to go through the game. I think the devs will be doing a much better job because they really have been, you know, working hard to try and keep the player base happy and all that good stuff. So I think once they get it figured out and they're like, oh, this is what people want, okay, we got it, and then they kind of just like zone in on that, they got me hooked. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I mean, I'm already hooked. I love the game, but you guys know what I mean. Now, while we are also talking about it, I do want to go over the Battle Pass because I have had some questions on what I think of the Battle Pass. So I did end up getting the Battle Pass. As I said, I am a Battle Pass enjoyer. So there's good and bad things about the Battle Pass. So in my opinion, I do think it is an upgrade from what we got last season. However, I would not say it is like it has room for improvement. It's not like super great or anything, but I did like the fact that they added like you know, some head skins, stuff like that, as well as in the battle supply shop they got some skins for the free-to-play players. I think it's good, you know. I think it's overall a good direction. However, I do feel like the weapon skins in the battle passes are kind of underwhelming because it's for guns that people don't really use. By the way, this cat, I'm just saying W devs, but the battle pass overall definitely has some issues still. I think adding these gun skins in here on weapons that aren't really viable, like nobody's gonna be using them, to be honest, it doesn't have a lot of value there. So you have to subtract all the gun skins because you're not gonna be using these late game. These are just kind of like very underwhelming skins that nobody really uses, so that is a big issue. I also think that as you progress in levels, they definitely need to add some, let me move my camera, they definitely need to add some like catalyst in here or something like that, as well as maybe at the end you have like a energy activator at the end or something like that. I mean, I definitely think there should be a few catalysts and at least one energy activator in here. It does give you the same thing as last season where it gives you like a 1-day boost of stuff, and it'll have like cosmetics that you can put on your chest or, you know, whatever. But yeah, I mean, overall it's okay. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like amazing value, but you do get, you know, you do get some of the coins back. You get some weapon skins that you're probably never going to use. The boosts are good. The precision phase exchangers are kind of, I mean, you can get those really easily, so they're not that big of a deal. And then, you know, you get some emotes and cosmetics or whatever. It's okay. I think it's better than the last one we had, but I wouldn't say it's great. As I said, hopefully they can improve upon this, because I think for sure that adding maybe like 1 or 2 catalysts in here and then 1 energy activator at the end would be a good idea. However, I don't know. I'm of the opinion that the battle passes should only be cosmetics, but at the same time, if we are going to have that option to where you can purchase catalysts and energy activators in the store, you might as well put at least like 1 in the battle pass, is the way I look at it. But you know, that's just my opinion on it. I think they could kind of, you know, up the appeal a little bit with these. I still bought it just because, you know, I'm really big on cosmetics, so I was like, you know, sure, why not? But they could definitely make it better. But it is an improvement, so I will give them that. But yeah, just as kind of like a final thoughts and like maybe what they can do to make the game better, I think it is good that they're trying to bring the community in before patches go live. They said that they were thinking about doing like a focused testing group, which we don't know if that's actually going to happen or what it's going to look like. We don't know if that's going to be like you just sign up for it and then you get invited to it or whatnot, but I do think it is a good idea. That way that the devs have like some time before the patch releases to get like the reaction of quite a few people. That way they can kind of adjust as needed before the patch drops and then don't have to like go back and like fix everything after the fact. So I do think that is like really valuable if they do end up going that direction. I think it's absolutely a good idea. And I think, as I said, over time, I do think the game is going to shine. Like, I think TFD is like right now in its really early phases and it's still trying to like figure itself out and figure out what they want with the game. Of course, it still has its issues. The game's not perfect. It has a lot of really fun, cool, good things going for it, and it has some bad things. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But overall, I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I hope in the future they do add some different types of like fun game modes, like zombies from COD or something. Like everybody starts with a pistol and special operations, and then each round you can like open a chest that like upgrades your gun, or you have a chance of getting a legendary gun, and you just get to farm like golden Kuiper and stuff like that. I think that would be like a lot of fun. They have a lot of stuff that they could do with this game to make it a lot more end game repetitive, but make it in a way to where it's like fun, you know what I mean? Like I used to play so much zombies zombies on COD back in the day. I think that would be like absolutely goated if they added something like that in this game. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see the direction it goes. I'm still hyped for Ultimate Freyna. I'm still hyped for everything that's coming. I'm going to continue to play every day. And yes, Season 1 does have some stuff that I don't like, but it also has some stuff that they improved on, which I appreciate. So again, we got some bad, but we also got some good. Hopefully they can kind of clean it up in the future to where they know what content people want and they'll release that sort of content. And I think in like a year or 2 years or however long it takes, we're going to be looking at like a completely different game. I think they'll have all the kinks worked out by then. I don't even think it'll take that long, to be honest. Probably a few more months of them kind of going back and forth with the community and seeing what the majority player base wants. I think they'll get it figured out for sure. But anyways, guys, that is my honest thoughts on Season 1. I always want to be as transparent as possible, but I also don't want to just like completely trash on the game, you know what I mean? So I'm always going to be honest. If a farm is shit, I'm going to say it's shit. But I might just not go out of my way to advertise that if you missed it. Like in one of my videos, if I made a comment like, oh, I really don't like this content, you know, I don't expect you to watch every single one of my videos, but I also don't want people thinking I'm just being disingenuous by not talking about it. So I figured I'd make a video on it. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I want to say. I appreciate it if y'all have watched this long. I am really excited for the future of TFD. I know Season 1 didn't start too great, but I am hopeful for the future and I am here to stay. I will keep releasing the first Descendant content as long as I can. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for all your support, or day, depending on when you're watching, and I appreciate you all greatly. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments if you like Season 1 and all that good stuff. It's always good to have a healthy dialogue of what the community likes to see. So y'all take care. I am Samix Plays. I will see y'all in the next one. Y'all have a good one. Peace.